So I'm trying with these videos to just not really come in with a script, to just be more raw with it, just to really try to tear off the filters and to give you my raw, honest thoughts and emotions. And if I'm being honest with myself, and if I'm being honest with you guys, lately I have been struggling. And hopefully making videos like this and talking about these things, maybe it helps my fellow content creators out there. Maybe it helps someone just watching, just knowing that, we all go through it. Even when you're a YouTuber with 1.6 million subscribers out there and seemingly doing well to the rest of the world. For me, one of the biggest things that I struggle with is I find that I'm more naturally an introvert. So like if I go out, maybe I play a show, maybe I do meet and greets, maybe I'm spending time around a lot of people, I need time after that to really recover from that excessive social stimulation. I started as an artist. I always will be kind of an introverted, creative artist who likes his own space, who likes his own time. And in addition to that, I was raised an only child. So, I'm used to being in my own company. I'm used to kind of just having that time on my own to kind of self-reflect. And I find what's difficult for me is when I turn on this camera, I give so much and I have to project and I have to kind of take what is a part of my personality and myself, but I have to really push it out there and give you guys that energy. And I find that it can be fucking draining. It can weigh on me. And I think last week it really hit me, especially when you do like 4 or 5 hour breakdown, because I've always had this way of treating these breakdowns, of treating these videos like when I was playing soccer and getting paid to do it. Like the life of an athlete, where I got to get a good night's sleep, I got to eat well, I got to rest up, and I want to make sure when I turn this camera on, I'm performing at my peak. I'm giving you my absolute best, because what I do is trying to operate at a high mental level so quickly in the moment. I'm sat listening to a song, I'm trying to break down production, I'm trying to break down rhythmic techniques, I'm trying to break down flows, I'm trying to count rhyme patterns, I'm trying to figure out the bars, I'm trying to connect it to the greater themes of the song, to the artist's intent, to the message. I'm trying to break down and do so much, and I have to communicate that and make those decisions within a split second, within 1 second of pausing, within 2 seconds of pausing. And then you also think about how you have to keep it interesting, how you have to communicate it so that the viewer can understand. And yeah, it's draining. It's a high level process. And I find that, especially if I'm stacking like a 5 hour album breakdown, a 4 hour album breakdown, and I had to do 2, like that takes so much out of me. And that's why I think, unlike a lot of other reaction channels, I think people get used to other reactors where they can put out like 3 videos in a day. They can just keep throwing targets at the algorithmic wall. And for me, I'm kind of like a one silver bullet shot kind of guy every day. And I do miss my days too. Like it can lead to burnout. And I have learned over time, when I start recognizing the signs of burnout, when I start to feel a certain way, my body starts screaming out, like I have to take time to have my own space. I have to take time to reset and let my mind recharge so I can come back better for you guys. But it's hard to balance that, if I'm being honest. Like, I do still like reading the comment section, and that can weigh on your mental health sometimes and weigh its toll, because I do feel guilty. Like, there's so much that I don't get to do that I want to do. And I feel like I'm letting fans down. I feel like I'm letting other artists down sometimes when I can't get to everything that I would love to get to. And on the flip side of that, I'm an artist still as well. I still love making music. I'm going and I'm playing shows, and they're not massive shows, but they're a solid level of a show. And I'm lucky enough to sell those shows out. I'm lucky enough to have a fan base who wants to come out and to support me. And that's fucking incredible. And that's how I started being an artist. And I find that I have to walk a balancing act too, because I'm not a full-time breakdown channel. I have to walk that balancing act because I have to spend time dedicated to my craft every day, because I care about it. The more that I try to get better as an MC, the more that I try to get better as an artist, the more that I try to learn on music theory, the more that I try to learn on production elements, production techniques, the more time that I spend just creating, making music videos, the process that goes into planning that, that all helps me when I'm doing my breakdowns. That all helps me with being able to analyze and identify what an artist is doing. And it's a constant act of kind of juggling plates. And for me, yeah, I think just I give, and then I combine that with doing some collaborative opportunities with the Charismatic Voice, with Black Pegasus, with traveling as well, spending time away from the family. And it's just like, I think sometimes it's a recipe for doing too much and giving too much, and reminding myself, hey, you know, the introvert in me needs a reset. The artist in me needs a recharge. And the thing is, I get home and it's not like it's a full reset, because I got to go be dad. And that's always going to be the greatest job in the world. That's always going to be special to me. And I've also learned over time the importance of setting boundaries as a content creator, because it's so easy just to never stop. Because I do love this. I do have a passion for this. I care so much about what I do, but you have to learn where to draw the lines and where your own personal lines are. And for me, family time's always the weekends. The weekends are always precious. So you guys will notice I don't really drop on a Sunday. Sunday is that's that rest time, but that's that family time. And the weekends are time when I just want to be 100% there for my girls, because they deserve that. You know, they deserve me being there, not a dad who's there and maybe mentally I'm far away. Maybe I'm still thinking about what else I'm going to do. I'm planning, I'm plotting, I'm strategizing. I'm curating content, getting ready for the week. You know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that isn't just simply turning on the camera and recording. That goes into trying to be a successful breakdown channel. That goes into trying to be a successful independent artist. You know, in a time where AI is happening, where people can just generate content so quickly, where there's such a oversaturation of content, there's such an overstimulation of content. And at the same time, everything's so geared towards polarizing, clickbait type of stuff, rage baiting, you know, content that creates drama, content that's so engaging that when you zoom out and you just want to create art and you truly care about the content that you make and the quality, sometimes that doesn't always align with algorithmic success. Sometimes that doesn't always align with something that's snappy or catchy in the first couple seconds, that's going to catch people's attention, that's going to get a ton of engagement. And that's hard to deal with as well. And I feel like that's a whole different discussion as an artist. And when talking about burnout, when talking about the way that YouTube works, one thing that I don't like that YouTube did a while ago, and it's something that does affect me, and I'm sure it affects everyone, is that when you publish a video on your dashboard, it rates how that video is performing out of your past 10 videos. So basically you're kind of competing against yourself. And one of the things that YouTube does cleverly psychologically, because they want to get you to keep uploading, they want to keep you to keep doing it. But like if the video is doing in your top 5, in your top percentage, then you get like greens. You get that little green check. But if it doesn't hit it, it's not getting that green check. And you see how psychologically that green, meaning go, like you're being encouraged. And it can be so discouraging. Maybe you put your heart and soul into a video. Maybe you spend an hour on it. And I just did that with a cipher breakdown that I did. And I knew it wasn't going to perform well, but it still hits you when you see it and it goes 10 out of 10. And it doesn't have that green check by it. And it doesn't have just that, I don't know, that psychological gratification that they know that they're doing. Like I wish YouTube would honestly get rid of the 1 out of 10 system, because that affects us, because obviously these are our livelihoods. We're going to keep an eye on analytics. We're going to keep an eye on the numbers. But the greatest advice that I can give to my fellow content creators, and I'm even making this for myself maybe to watch back one day, is the analytics are great. The numbers are great, but don't let that define your art. Don't let that be an indicator of the success of your content. Because trust me, I've had plenty of videos I'm so proud of, I spent hours on, and maybe it just didn't hit right. Maybe it just wasn't the right time. Maybe it just didn't click. And then there's other videos you feel like are so much quicker, there's less to explain, there's less to do, there was less put into it, and maybe those take off, and those blow up, and those go 1 out of 10. But you think that those are more successful, then that doesn't mean that that was the better content that you did. You know, I think it's a game that we all play with ourselves, holding a mirror up. And really, I think we're our best critics, and we're also our worst critics as well. But don't let numbers, don't let the quantification of everything, don't let these algorithms define you and your art. And yeah, that's I don't know what the purpose of this video was. This purpose of the video is just kind of to rant and to be raw and honest and open with you guys about some of the struggles and some of the things that I deal with up here and that I deal with on YouTube. And, you know, I am human. I've realized that when it comes to comment sections, when it comes to rap, I am in a very crab in a bucket genre of music. It can get hard. It's so polarizing. Fan bases can be fantastic. They can be great. But also with rap, it can become just one team versus the other so much, and comment sections could get ugly. I mean, I don't even think I can make a post on X anymore and just want to have a discussion on music and discuss an artist without getting just torn down, without getting name called, without just getting destroyed. And I genuinely want to have conversations. I genuinely enjoy talking about music, but it feels like everybody's looking for the next slam dunk take. We got to win arguments. We got to slam dunk on each other instead of just have natural conversations. And that's also something that I struggle with within hip hop is navigating that. And I think when you're tired, when you're more burnt out, it's harder to take those negative comments. It's harder to take all that toxicity and to be able to put it in its place because you're mentally weaker. You don't have your defenses up and you can't just allocate that and set that aside and realize it comes with the territory. And yeah, it can all weigh down. So this is, I guess this is that check-in. This is that check-in with myself, and this is that check-in with you guys in my community. Listen, as always, thank you for being here. Always take time for yourselves. You know, it's okay to say no. It's okay to set boundaries. Protect what's up here. Protect what's in here. I love you guys. I'll catch you again.